Hi, I'm Marisa Sweeney, and I'm here with Kendra Arnold,
Hi.
and we are the owners of the New Jersey VegFest. And I feel it's worth explaining in the beginning of every episode the why behind the New Jersey VegFest as well as the why behind this podcast.
Okay.
Because it's really just an extension of the mission. So Kendra and I had started the New Jersey VegFest because in both of our separate experiences, we've learned that being vegan in New Jersey for long enough really is not an easy thing to do. So we kind of came up with the idea of taking the vegan businesses and the nonprofits and the restaurants and the product developers and all the the small businesses mostly in New Jersey and bringing them together for an event, or really what's turning into multiple events, and creating community around them. And it really kind of serves two different purposes. One, now people know that they're available. Like people that are looking for more plant-based options, people that are maybe even toying with the idea or fully are vegan. They now know where to go. And two, it really promotes these guys also, you know? And so it really, I think it serves that dual purpose that that really allows for change, I think, to happen on a macro level in terms of making New Jersey specifically more plant-based. So it really is, we've said this a bunch of times, but it's really true. I mean, our focus is about the vendors first, because they're the ones out there pushing this grassroots movement forward of making New Jersey more plant-based.
Right.
So it's really about the vendors first. And that's why, so that's where this podcast kind of comes in. Like, this is really an extension of that effort, in that each one of our podcasts, we have one of our vendors come on and they tell their story. And it's been really educational for us, I got to tell you.
Oh my gosh.
Because most of the time and most of the experiences that we have with the vendors is like they're so busy, you know, because
like the rush of just getting their health permit. Like,
right.
Like there's a couple I didn't know their names. There was just like,
it's been just small
just
talk
call them
at events.
business.
I know, that is really bad.
It's like Nitro guys.
I know. I was just saying, I was just thinking that, right before we had the Nitro guys on, we actually had to ask what their names were, because we were like, we just kind of refer to you as the Nitro guys all the time, and they're not the only ones like that. There's a lot of vendors, and it's mostly because we're really busy.
I told somebody that, and somebody told me at this last event that we should get name tags.
We should, like the sticker ones or something like that.
Okay.
So anyway, it's been educational for us to hearing everybody's story and learning why they got into it, and it's been really cool, I think.
It's been great over the last year and a half, or how long we've really been throwing these events, to see some of these businesses grow.
Yeah, that part has been really incredible.
Yeah.
It really has been really incredible.
Even though we kept saying that, it's really true that they're actually growing. Like Yeah Dog was saying at this last event that her Yeah Dogs are in more stores in New Jersey now than they are in New York.
Yeah, that's
where
so cool.
She's based.
And speaking of the Nitro guys too, they're about to release the cans. Very, very soon. I think within the next week, maybe, that's going to hit 50 retail stores. They said that's insane.
That's really great.
That's really awesome. And I think that's just two examples of it seems like a lot of the vendors that have been with us are success stories.
Eat Nice is in King, ShopRite, like a whole list.
Mopui's is everywhere. They got a brick and mortar and now in Denville. Yeah.
And then I've seen them in Whole Foods.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the New Jersey's ready for it. It's cool to see the community grow and the businesses grow and everything. It's almost like when the tide rises, all the ships come in.
And it's kind of interesting. When we did that first event, I honestly thought, when we were doing it, I'm like, we're going to get big places like Tofurkey. We're going to get Tofutti was and those are big companies that are already in stores, and that's not really who we're working with, and I kind of like it better that way.
Right. I like the small businesses a lot.
It's
because it's almost like I kind of like the blood, sweat, and tears of small business. Like they're putting their heart into it. They're all local people. They're not like big company, and maybe they will be big companies one day.
I think some of them will.
And we're not excluding the big companies either.
Tofurkey is welcome anytime.
Yeah, Tofutti is welcome anytime.
Yeah.
And they're new. I don't know about Tofurkey actually, but Tofutti is New Jersey based.
Tofutti is New Jersey.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh no, Tofurkey I meant to say though. Tofutti is definitely New Jersey based. That I knew. But how about Tofurkey? Where are they from?
I don't know.
I don't know either. They seem
Land
almost
of Tofurkeys.
somewhere around there. But anyway, so even though I just gave this whole explanation about how we have vendors on with every episode, this episode, if you haven't figured it out already, is just Kendra and I.
I know, it's gonna be weird. I brought a notebook with nothing written on it.
It's just kind of like listening into conversation that Kendra and I have every day, multiple times a day. There was actually one time where I like pulled up my call log of just on a regular day, nothing out of the ordinary, of just calls back and forth from Kendra and I over the course of a day, and there was probably about 10. I think that's a fair average.
And people
if I had to make a guess, how many times we talk.
People have been surprised how much we talk. Like one time, Mary Doherty, who's a friend of ours.
Yeah. She's like, how much time does it take you to plan all these events? And I was like, Kendra and I talk like 10 times a day. And she's like, really? I was like, that's not an exaggeration. But
yeah, I try to wait till 8 o'clock in the morning before my first call.
Which is really great. I know you're a morning person, and I'm not. And I appreciate that you at least wait until 8.
But now we have like one meeting at 6:30 at night, and you're like, is that too late for you?
Yeah, and you like, said it was.
It is a little too late for me.
At 6:30 at night, I am on. I am like, let's have all our meetings at night. I feel like my second one usually comes like at around 9.
I would have all my meetings at 4 o'clock in the morning if I could do it. That's fine.
I envy that. I don't even mean that sarcastically. It must be really nice to be a morning person, because I feel like the whole world operates in the morning. The whole world. I mean, 4 o'clock is
4 o'clock. Nobody's up, so you can do whatever you want.
4 o'clock might as well still be in the middle of the night. I don't do well in that 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, the reason why we wanted to do this episode, where it's just Kendra and I, is because. Yes, in the beginning of all these podcast episodes, I've been getting into the explanation of, why we started the New Jersey VegFest and everything, and why we did this podcast. But things are really evolving.
Right.
Our company is evolving. Our events are evolving. We just put a whole bunch of events on the calendar. So we kind of want to get into
why we did that,
and how the mission is expanding, and just how everything is expanding, and just kind of like explain it all. So there's this continued understanding of things, I guess you could say.
So
go ahead.
So we just added 3 events this spring in Sayreville.
Yeah.
At the Starline Ballroom. April 22nd, May 19th, and then
June 24th.
And then we kind of want to do a fall thing, but we haven't booked those yet. We're also trying to pin down our dates for this fall at the Wellmont in Montclair, and we want to do a series of 3.
We're looking at September, October, November for those.
And so I think these series is kind of what leads into what we're trying to do. Like when we first did the first one, it was going to be a once-a-year event,
right?
And we thought that was it. And there's a couple things that made us want to do them all the time.
Yeah.
There's, for me, so like I'll give you a list and then you can add on to it.
Okay.
So the first thing was, the first one was really busy. And
the one in the Hyatt,
and I knew there was other places in the country and in New York City doing pop-ups, and I kind of wanted to keep that momentum going. But there's a couple reasons. One was Minnie from Samosa Shack said that she understood that we wanted to do these big festivals, but for her, she wanted a market to sell her products all the time and reach the same people and build a loyal following. And I don't even think she remembers saying that, but that was really switched up something in my brain. Mm-hmm. And I also, this is like decades ago, I worked at this hippie restaurant in Asheville, North Carolina called Stone Soup. And one of their things was, they were into food because that was one of the basic necessities of life. It was like food, housing, and clothing. Those were the only things they would ever be involved in. And I keep thinking people need to eat, and vegans need to eat all the time. You don't want to eat once a year. And I think the turnout for these events shows that it's really popular. And also there was a couple events in Asbury where people couldn't get in. Mm-hmm. And they were like, I drove 2 hours. And I remember saying to people, you shouldn't have to drive 2 hours to go to this event.
Yeah.
Where do you live? Because we should be doing an event near you.
Right.
And then so just recently we were talking about like, how do we do an event in every single county?
Right.
I don't know if that's possible, but that's kind of what we started mapping out.
Right. I like the thought of that too.
Yeah.
Because, so I agree with what you just said. Like, maybe I'll just expand a little bit more on what you just said. Is like, we all have to eat every single day, whether we like it or not. Like, we all have to eat.
Yeah.
It's kind of like part of life. So And I think there's conversation that happens every now and then, or like people that kind of like approach us, lightly with the question of, oh, don't you guys think you're oversaturating the market?
Right.
And I don't think we are. Like, I really don't. I don't think we are. And who knows? Maybe we will reach a point where it's like suddenly events aren't well attended as they used to be, or something, and we can kind of gauge things off of that. Like, we're not that, with our blinders on, moving forward as fast as we can. Like, we really want to be in tune with the market, but like, almost think like farmers markets. Like, there's a lot of towns that are right next to each other, like Morristown and Madison, and like all these little, and I feel like all over New Jersey, everybody has a farmers market because everybody eats every single day, and like the stuff has to be available. Like, you wouldn't drive 2 hours to get a tomato at a farmers market. Like, you kind of, like, every week there's something, and like, actually, in some of the towns in New Jersey, they'll have farmers market more than once a week.
Right.
So they're pop-up markets. It's making it more available for people. And the more you make it more available, the more normal it's all going to become. And the more that people will understand that there's a demand for this,
And and showing that there's a demand for it is really one of the things that when we first started, because if we show... I guess my thinking is if we show demand for it, then restaurants will start picking up on it, and like it'll make it easier for us to live our everyday lives. And I know we've talked about this before, but like I really do feel like if we do this right, and we show there's a demand for it, in 10 years we don't have to do this anymore. I mean, we want to do it, but maybe then we just put ourselves out of business.
Right. Which that would be a great thing.
Yeah.
That would be a great thing. And maybe these events only have like a 10-year lifespan on them.
We're like looking at Ming. What do you think, Ming?
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean to put you on the spot.
Maybe these events only have a 10-year lifespan on them. Yeah. But if that's the case, it's because, all these options are so available that they're not needed anymore. And that's great.
Because that would be amazing.
That means the culture has changed enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Ming. Were you going to say something? I mean to cut you off.
You guys are going to go on forever. If I may chime in,
okay.
I came to my first vegan NJ VegFest event this weekend.
Just this past Sunday.
And I was blown away by what you guys have built. And I know this was, you were explaining to me that this was just a pop-up, that this was a quote-unquote small event. But I was there for like 4 hours.
I know, that was fun.
Yeah. And I was texting friends. I was like, "You got to get down here. This is amazing." Like,
awesome.
Yeah. And
Thanks.
I was sending them photos of the food, and I was telling them to hurry up because I was hungry.
Yeah. And stuff sells out.
Yeah. And I was running into people I hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people tagging you, and I was like, I didn't know that one. Like Janet was like, there's a lot of people that
are connected to you that we didn't know. It was just pretty cool.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ming is also pretty famous too.
I know.
Yeah.
That's beside the point.
I keep saying that because I like, admittingly, like I did not know. I didn't know how famous you are.
There's no reason why you would have known. So for anybody listening,
I'm not connected to the comic world. I think that's why. But you're on that show, Comic Men, right?
Yeah. For anybody listening, I'm on a TV show called
for vegans listening who only go to vegan sites, we can learn about something new.
Yep.
On a TV show called Comic Book Man, comes on after The Walking Dead on AMC. And I mean, we have a recent vegan connection now. The boss, the big guy at the top, Kevin Smith, recently had a hard episode.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was recommended that he go vegan. So, and he's on what I think Penn Jillette's got some kind of crazy potato
diet, right?
I actually have bought that book. Yeah. I read Penn Jillette's book, and I like potatoes. I'm pro potato diet if that's what it takes.
Yeah, and he's lost 20 pounds already.
Yeah.
His doctors recommended he lose 50. So, and he had lost a bunch of weight already, but
good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 is a significant piece of that 50 that he needs to lose. That's great.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's going to a plant-based diet. So
yeah, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so I think
that's great.
I ate everything. So I want to thank you guys for keeping me well fed on Sunday.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Yeah, we're really happy that you came. That was good.
I can't wait to go to more events.
Yeah,
and then I was just thinking logistically what you guys have built and gone through. It's not easy putting on an event like this. I was just things from loading in, and I think everybody needs electricity for the most part, right? So they can prepare food.
Almost everybody.
Yeah, that's not easy.
No, and there are some venues. Funny you should mention. There's some venues that are not I don't want to, equipped is not the word. Like they don't know how to run food shows. You know what I mean? I don't want to put any particular venue, but I'll say this, like the Starland Ballroom, they're a concert venue. So they were with the food shows, they weren't like discouraging in any sort of way, but like there's a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
And you got to get the fire department involved, and you got to get the health department involved. And at this point, most of the vendors that are with us for most of our shows kind of know what to do, like they know the ropes, but like a lot of these newer venues are like, what? Like they don't quite understand.
We went to some big venues
And they still don't get it.
We went to we were in Detroit, and we went to like a lot of different venues to check out. And we went to Cobo.
Cobo Hall.
Cobo Hall.
Yeah.
Cobo Center. I think they're getting ready to change the name, but
I think they are.
It's currently Cobo Hall.
That's a monster venue.
They had never done a food event either.
Yeah, they've never done it.
And it was interesting because I would assume that they would have, because such
Right.
iconic.
It's huge
thing, and been there for so long.
So I just went to Detroit for the first time because Kendra grew up out there, but we wanted to look at, there was an organization that reached out to us to and gave us the idea of doing a veg fest out, or a vegan food festival out in Detroit, and one of the venues that we visited was that Cobo Center, and this could be very off, but it was like Madison Square Garden size.
It's
huge.
It's huge. And there was like multiple rooms. Actually, it's probably bigger than Madison Square Garden, because they had in that kind of like basement level, they had bigger than the Meadowlands Expo Center.
Yeah.
Like just like a huge like warehouse looking like expo floor.
And when we were there, they started for the auto show, which wasn't for like 2 months.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's how long it takes.
Probably their biggest event.
Yeah.
And,
It was huge.
I would probably guess that they built that venue around that auto show.
Yeah,
Probably.
So they get a lot of cars in there.
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah. But they had no idea. Like a venue like that, like they were trying to work out logistics of like what they would even be for having like a food show like ours there, and like it was brand new to them. Like they had no idea. So
they were. I mean, once they found out how it worked, they seemed really interested in it.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Like, I'm not saying any of this in like a negative way. It's just new. People are most certainly willing to work with us, but it's like, so that is that to kind of like go back to what you were saying before. Like, it's a challenge for sure. There's like little challenges along the way that I think can sometimes be unanticipated.
Yeah, and I know you started this. You wanted to encourage veganism in New Jersey and just be able to eat vegan food. But once you run into roadblocks like that, most people would be like, health department, electricity is like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I admire that you guys have gone forward and built such a great event. So
Thank you. There's some flaming hoops for sure that we have to jump through, but I think we're used to it now.
I kind of feel like I have a personality. If I announce something, not everything, but if I announce it and things go wrong, I have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like,
it's kind of like
I don't want anyone to say that I just gave up.
I feel like a business model, if that's what you want to call it, for us so far has been like, let's book dates, let's put it on a calendar and tell everybody about it.
Tell everyone we're doing it.
Freak
and then
out.
Figure it out from there.
Yeah, and then freak out until it gets done.
it's been
working.
That's how greatness is built, my friends. And, did Ben Franklin set out to fly a kite with a key at the end of it? No, he just did it, and it worked out for him. And now
Interesting.
Now he's on the $100 bill. So.
Yeah. That's a great example.
Yeah.
I might use that
so
story
funny.
if you don't mind, Ming.
It's all yours.
That's so funny.
Can I shout out some of your vendors? I think
Yeah.
from
Sure.
everybody. But I started at the Nitro Beverage Company.
They're great.
I had Freaking Vegans Buffalo Chicken Mac and Cheese,
it's
which
so
was
good.
mind blowing. Every time I ate something, I was like, "What's in this?"
I think that freaking vegans mac and cheese is a favorite of people who work at Convention Hall. Like, they're not vegans, but they make a beeline for that.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for my friend to arrive, so I didn't get any Screamers pizza. And by the time she got there, all gone.
Yeah.
All gone. So
Yeah.
visited Gone Pie. Yeah Dog was amazing. Had the kimchi dog over there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then Vegan Treats was an eye opener from
Yeah.
Bethlehem,
They're
Pennsylvania.
like, I don't know how they make that stuff.
It's beautiful.
It's
It's
Yeah.
pastry chef quality, high end, but all vegan, without any
it's
animal
just
products.
so beautiful.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
their stuff is really, and like they get 4 booths too. Like everybody gets their little like 10 foot by 10 foot
Yeah.
like square. They get like 4 of them so they can set up all their
And their
products.
line goes all day long.
Right. Their line can go out the door if we like snake it that way. Like that actually becomes like a big thing like that we have to deal with whenever they're there is, all right, how are we going to have this line move throughout the event? Because
right,
it gets
not block
crazy.
anybody, and yes.
Yeah.
Right. And we often
And they
have
move
to
pretty
improv.
fast, but it's just that's
They
a
move
long
fast,
line.
but people go just for them. They have a pretty amazing
It's like
thing going
vegan
on.
treats and screamers
Right.
weighing down the corners of Convention Hall.
Yeah, we do put them on opposite ends because forget it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't have them on the same side of the room. Their lines are far too big.
Yeah, grabbed a pumpkin pie from our friends at Gone Pie.
Yeah.
Grabbed something from Homemade Betty.
Yeah.
Visited Tea Minder.
Yeah.
And, I think I hit
You did hit everybody.
And so you went upstairs. It's
did
hard to
go
get.
upstairs.
It's hard to get people to go upstairs, but it's really nice up there.
It's an amazing nice sun. There's sunshine up there. There's
Yeah.
a bar up there. So
Yeah.
everybody, next time you go, please go upstairs.
And
A lot of
this,
good
Yeah.
stuff up
this
there.
time we had a game guy, Chris Chiron, I think is his name, Chris, and he did like. It's really hard to like. We keep trying stuff to get people to hang out there. We've
Yeah.
done like a dating thing, and that didn't really work out. It sounded fun, but nobody really cared. But the game thing had people playing all day long.
Yeah.
And he is really into it. He wants to do like a mystery thing. He was an idea for bingo, idea for a scavenger hunt.
Yeah. We definitely want people to have the feeling that they can come here and hang out, you know? It's not like come here, get your food and get out, you know? Because I think other events can be set up like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
we have Charisse doing meetups all the time. We have
Yeah.
this game guy. We had
I just really want people to make friends.
Right, because it is about the community part of
Yeah.
it, you know? Like a lot of times people, or I could imagine that often the situation occurs that people decide to like go vegan and their families are like, what are you doing? And
Yeah.
like people don't get it, you know? My family for sure didn't get it for a little while, and things are a little bit different now, but it took long enough.
I think you'd start in a festival.
I know. Actually, to be honest with you, that is what it took. I'm not trying to bash my parents
Yeah.
because they've always
Yeah.
been great, but like both my parents are very much like meat and potatoes kind of people, and it actually wasn't. So I've been vegan now for I'm gonna guess like probably like 8 years or something like that.
Okay.
I don't really remember, but it's something like that. And it wasn't until I saw actually my mom for her birthday this past weekend that she said to me, she's just like, you know, I like read something about like animal cruelty and factory farms, and I'm like thinking about like cutting some things out. She's not as far as going vegan.
Right.
But she's just like, I kind of want to like eat less chicken and fish. And it's like the fact that she's even thinking about it is big. My parents are old school, you know?
But wasn't there a thing where like your dad entered like a vegan chili in the local vegan or like
Yeah, I don't know. My dad is like he almost has like this old school like man mentality
Yeah.
of like vegan food is not manly enough. It's
but he cooked something vegan and
Right.
entered it in like his contest at work.
right. So he's like not like open and vocal about it, but like he is starting to get like creative with like, especially because and my husband's vegan too. So if we're coming over, they feel like they have to accommodate us, and we're not trying to be a pain in the ass. So he's getting creative with like making some vegan stuff now.
Yeah.
And he won like at his work like a vegan chili cook-off.
I think that's pretty big.
Which is like,
have you
yeah.
tasted the chili?
I shouldn't say vegan chili cook-off. It was just a chili cook-off, and his was the only vegan submission,
And it won.
And it won, yeah.
But have you tried it?
I have tried it. It's pretty damn good. Yeah. So they're coming around, but the point is that you know having the community is not always something that's readily available for people. So that's something
Right.
we definitely want people to feel like they have at these events because people are very like-minded there.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, who knows where anybody is
And-
on their journey,
and
but
I
for the
also-
most part, they are.
I also want it to be friendly enough to people who aren't vegans that they can come with their friends. Like a lot of times when you're vegan, nobody wants to go. Your family doesn't want to go out to eat with you.
I know.
And so if you're vegan or you want to bring someone from work or your family or your friends,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to have good beer and like enough junk food that everybody's happy.
It's meant to be a party.
Yeah.
Like nobody's asking you when you walk in or if you're vegan or not, you know? It's very warm and welcoming, and we really want to make sure that the integrity of that kind of environment is not compromised at all. Like we do not want people to feel upon walking in that, because I almost feel like there's sometimes like a snootiness that comes along with veganism that people assume, And that's we are not vegan
Well,
snotty.
people ask on our Facebook page all the time if they're allowed to come if they're not vegan.
Right.
And of course
you are.
Yeah.
Right. We are not vegan snotty. That is not us. So,
yeah.
Another thing that I think we should kind of talk about though is how things are transitioning. So, so we're doing these pop-up markets all over New Jersey. We're doing the best that we possibly can, or we're in the process of doing the best we possibly can to make New Jersey as plant-based as possible by having these markets everywhere, have these plant-based options available as often as possible, normalize it as much as we can.
Okay.
But we're also then we've started to get some calls. I kind of mentioned this with Detroit. I was talking about it like a few minutes ago, from other organizations in other towns and vendors from other cities and states that are asking us to come to them and bring an event to them. So as much as, our original mission, and it still is very heavily New Jersey focused, We're now in the spring of 2019, we're going to do a Detroit Vegan Food Festival, which we're really excited about. The Eastern Market, it's going to be freaking awesome. We're really excited about that.
I have a lot of things I want to do in Detroit, but I won't talk about them. But
we'll get into it.
Detroit has like a lot of really cool things happening. And
Detroit's such a cool
They already
city.
have a lot of people doing vegan events and offering vegan food. It's really a cool place to
But again, the more you make it, and that's great.
Yeah.
Like, other people should be doing events.
Right.
Like, let's make it more available in any way. That's great.
Right.
But there's also other cities, and I don't know, given where we are in the process, how much we can really talk about it. But there's other cities and there's other states that we're looking to go. So we thought we would kind of come up with an umbrella brand, or more of like a company, because we can't really, if we're going to other cities and we're going to other states, we can't really call it the New Jersey VegFest anymore. I mean, we can when we're in state.
Right.
But once we move out, nobody wants to go to the New Jersey VegFest that's in Detroit. To keep it very hyper local, I think is really important too, because we also don't
making those connections everywhere we go with local people, making friends and building community is really important.
Right. We don't want to lose sight of that as our purpose.
Right.
So, or a big piece of our purpose. So.
We just want to add to the community that's there. We don't. That's what our goal is.
Right. That's what our goal is. So we came up with the umbrella brand called Sprout Everywhere Events.
Yeah. I like it.
That we're really excited about because it kind of, I think in just that phrase, it can really hint at least at what it is that we're trying to do. Like, we're trying to sprout the vegan community everywhere and support that grassroots movement of all these little guys and all these hyper local communities.
I think supporting the small local businesses everywhere is really key to making it spread everywhere.
I agree. I really like it.
I do too.
So, and we kicked around for a while, what are we going to call it?
We've had some really not bad ideas. We've had other ideas.
We had other ridiculous ones. We should tell the Pineapple Brigade story. I'll let you do that.
When we were in Detroit, we stayed at an Airbnb above PJ's Lager House, which is a great place to go.
Which is in Corktown. It was amazing.
You should go there. There's a bagel store on one side, Detroit Institute of Bagels.
Yeah.
And there's that place on the other side that had a lot of vegan stuff. It's like Brooklyn Street Local.
I think it was Brooklyn Street Local. I got a shirt from them.
So if you're vegan, the Airbnb above that bar is the place to stay.
And that bar has a bunch of vegan stuff too.
And they had vegan pop-ups when we were there.
Yeah, they had vegan pop-ups. We were so excited. We were we're staying above a vegan pop-up right now.
Yeah.
It was
but so then we were drinking
really
beer
exciting.
and we were trying to come up with this kind of umbrella brand, and we were just using this rock and roll band name generator on the internet
while we were drunk, as we were going through it.
It seemed like such a great idea.
It was a really great idea. So this is almost embarrassing to tell this story, but while we were pretty buzzed in the bar, we really liked the name Vegan Pineapple Brigade.
It was Vegan Pineapple Brigade. I thought it was
just
great.
Because it's absurdity.
We bought the domain.
Yeah, we bought the domain.
We had a logo made.
We started in the process of getting a logo made. We were all about it. It just seemed so.
And then
brilliant.
we talked to Laura, and she's like, "What does that mean?"
I know. Laura from Creature
I'm
Comforts.
why don't you have a beer and it will all make sense?
I know. Yeah, exactly. I think. I guess I didn't
like it. There was the whole thing with the pineapple used to be the symbol for hospitality.
Right.
I mean, I came up with a lot of reasons why it would work, but it just was
And I
a
think
silly thing in a bar.
yes, and I
Yeah.
think it was a take off the fact that we were the beat that we have right now for the New Jersey VegFest logo. So that was originally, I don't know if too many people really know this, but like we originally had that logo designed to look like a Bon Jovi album cover, to kind of like
You
keep.
can't really see it. I mean, it used to have like a fork in it.
Yeah.
Like there's Bon Jovi.
It's evolved. It's evolved over
I don't
years.
want Bon Jovi to get mad at us.
No.
But like they had like a heart with a knife in it.
Well,
and
Bon Jovi's a big vegan now.
is he vegan?
He's got like his own vegan company.
He's got a vegan clothing line, but I don't know if he's like vegan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
We
I
should
might have spoke
get
too
him
soon.
on the podcast and find out.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
He does have a restaurant in New Jersey.
Wouldn't that be some next level
Yeah.
shit for us to get Bon Jovi in here? Could you imagine on our
And like
vegan booster club podcast
we
we
should
have
go.
Bon
We should go
Jovi?
to his restaurant and check it out.
I would love to go to his
It's a
restaurant.
kind of like a pay as what you can thing.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
think you were telling me about that
Yeah.
before. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
it's called the Soul Kitchen. It's up in Red Bank.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. They have very odd hours. I think Wednesday through Sunday
Okay.
or Saturday 5 to 7,
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
then I think Sunday like 12 to 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
So
would-
it's not open often then.
No, but
Interesting.
It's pretty amazing. I volunteered there a couple times
Oh,
and washed
cool.
dishes. You can go and
Oh,
volunteer
really?
there.
Yeah.
And the food is amazing. They
Is
got
it a fundraiser for something? Or?
when you're there you can pay whatever you want. They suggest $20 per
Okay.
person, and if you can't afford it, you can work
Okay.
and have a nice sit down meal there. For anyone less fortunate
Yeah.
who usually doesn't get to experience something like that.
Of like people waiting on you and like being.
That's pretty
welcome.
cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I believe they donate some of the funds as well to soup kitchens and
Okay.
things like that, helping out the homeless or anyone less fortunate. But it's an amazing place.
That's
and,
really
That's
cool.
really cool.
And if I happen to be around during those hours, I'll stop by. I haven't been there in a while, but I try to stop by. Or I try to bring friends over there. So yeah, I would love to.
I
to
gotta
go with
get
you
over
guys
there.
We
sometime.
should, if we're down here this summer, we should go there.
Oh yeah. I would love to just volunteer there and see what it's about.
Okay.
I think that's pretty cool. What haven't we talked
We
about?
have a couple notes. I want to talk about Atlantic City. Maybe we wrap up with Atlantic City.
Sure.
But there's like some things we're talking about just of the process of like doing these events and how it's evolved. But we were talking in the car of how people are scared of you. And people think I'm the nice one. I'm the good cop and you're the bad cop.
I don't know. I would scared might be a strong word.
But there's also a couple of people that you've dealt with and haven't really talked to me that are think I'm the bad cop.
I can't imagine that's true. I can't imagine that's true. So Kendra and I we do kind of joke about how we have this like relationship where Kendra's like the good cop and I'm the bad cop. Not purposefully. I think it's just how it's really like evolved. And it's weird because in every other situation in my life, like I'm always kind of like the easygoing, like, hey guys, like kind of person.
I think we're both pretty laid back. I mean,
yeah.
that's why this works so well.
I think so.
But
you know what else I think it is too? I think it's not only like the fact that we're like pretty laid back, but like the both of us are like think big and the minutia will figure itself out kind of people.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, we get caught up in. But I think that's like we waste absolutely no time.
I waste some time.
With like crap details and stuff like that.
Sometimes I get really hung up on something really small, and I'm trying not to do that anymore.
Yeah, you just got to keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Because if you get too bogged down in the small details of everything, you forget to do the big stuff.
Right, and you start
Yeah.
losing sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But you are the bad cop.
I am the bad cop, I guess.
I think it started
so.
with our very first event. You were dealing with the hotel and the speakers, and I was answering the emails and doing.
You were
like,
dealing
social
more with
media
like the
and,
vendors.
And there was one point where everybody was mad at something we did with that first event, and I had to issue like a public apology, and it was kind of funny. And I think the way when I did that, people saw that I was a real person, and
Yeah.
And it kind of turned for us when people did start liking us after that huge mistake. And
I
then
guess
we said we're
so.
sorry.
I do feel like people do feel much more, like the vendors especially feel much, and you run all the social media too. So I think for that reason, I think a lot of people feel more connected. I would like to think that I'm not an intimidating person by any means. I would also like to think that I'm self-aware enough to find that to be
You're
true.
a nice person.
But like I think there
We're gonna get you buttoned.
we kind of
you're nice.
I'm not going to yell at you. That's the shirt I'm going to wear.
But sometimes I do tell people, I'm like, you're gonna have to talk to Marisa, and then
they
they
don't.
never get in touch with you.
Nobody wants to talk to me. Everyone wants to talk to you.
That's funny.
I got to tell you, I'm not
But I
complaining about
I
it.
do think we have even people who don't know that. Like, there's also the thing where sometimes people think we're a bigger company than we are.
That is true.
They've gotten mad at us or think that we're a corporation, and it's not. Well, it's just you and me.
It's just it's just you and I. Literally, there's nobody else. It's just
For a
you and
while,
I doing it all.
We made a joke. And that was just not over beer, but we were like, we should just call this like two idiots.
Yeah, what was you have something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, for an umbrella brand. For an umbrella brand, we were thinking about calling it. It was going to be an acronym. It was
Because I was like, people think we're a big company. We're not. We're just two idiots.
yeah, with big ideas.
yeah.
I think so. What was that acronym? It was going to be like TIBG,
Yeah.
something along those lines. Two idiots,
It
big
was
ideas.
taken though, so that's why we had to move on to pineapples.
Apparently, there's two
Yeah.
other idiots with big ideas
Yeah.
out there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, that's really all we are. If I do say so myself, like we are just two idiots with big ideas.
Yeah.
like we're not some big corporation that's coming in trying to run shit and take over whatever else is going on there.
No.
Like we are literally at like very face value with and up front with we are literally just trying to spread the community, and it is just Kendra and I, and that's it.
Well,
There's
we do have like a pretty good team. Like we have a lot of great volunteers.
We have
that
great
help us out.
volunteers.
We have like some people like a.
I want to
we're
say
starting to get people helping us in different
different
ways,
areas
yeah.
and on a very like per diem basis, and
yeah.
and
But I do think.
that's
Go
very
back to
new.
the two idiots thing, because mostly it's on Facebook or on social media where people get mad at you and think you're a big company.
Yeah.
And we really try to answer everybody if they're mad about something and explain to them, I've when we first started, it was really hard for me to take criticism of what we were doing. And on the internet, everybody has something to say, and
Yeah.
I really try to, when people have insights that they want to share with us, I really try to take that in. And sometimes it's hard to take, but I have to. But a lot of times, their advice is spot on.
I know.
And,
That's
and,
just what
and
it
you
is.
just have to like sit back and like sometimes I have to take a couple hours and think about how I'm going to reply. I really try to reply to everyone who's mad or upset or has a good idea,
and not just delete
yeah.
their comments. Yeah.
I, for the record, have never deleted any comments. Well, I actually did delete two because I thought they were too many swear words. But,
Oh, really?
But I don't delete any comments because of the content of what they're saying about what we should change.
Right.
And like a lot of times I'll give people my phone number. You're welcome to call us and tell us what you're mad about.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like because people aren't mad at us. A lot of times like this, but like you can have like 20,000 really nice comments, and I really focus on like, why is that one person mad? I want to make them happy.
Yeah. It is true. Like you can have like a whole bunch of people that are really happy to be at an event, and then all it takes is one person to complain, and it like completely shits on your day.
It does shit on your day, but in the end, I think taking their insights instead of blowing them off has made our events better.
I would have to agree with that. Actually, who said something along those lines is Kurt at the last event, the owner
really?
of Freak and Vegan. It was actually a really nice thing that he said. He said, I think the reason why your events, or one of the big reasons why your events do so well, is because you take the advice of the vendors, you take the advice of the attendees, and you incorporate things, and you change
Yeah.
things, and you accommodate. So, and I do think that's something, I'm not trying to toot our own horns here, but I do think that's something that's really been helpful for us, like we're
And
not...
It's not something that normally comes natural, because when people... But it does make for a good event.
I also think, to your credit too, you have this unique ability to take people that are like that want to be our enemies and just make them friends.
I know, and some people who were really angry with us are now some of our biggest supporters.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's pretty great.
And
I don't know how I managed to do that, but I will take credit for it.
I think you managed to do it because you actually address people's concerns. Even if they come in like guns blazing, like cursing up the place.
Do you remember that first?
You address it instead of just deleting comments.
Do you remember the first time we got a complaint and it was like the lady, it ended up, you called me. And you were like, somebody's really mad at our Facebook page. Should we delete it? I was like, no.
Yeah.
And it was like past 6:30, so I was sleeping and I got out of bed. And,
yeah.
And it took a while to figure out what that lady was mad about. And it was like she was mad about some typos on our website.
Yeah, I remember
but
that.
She was really angry.
Like insulted about typos. Like,
yeah, and then I just had to keep asking her like a couple questions until I figured out what she was talking about.
It wasn't even typos on our website as I'm thinking about it. Like, we had a sponsored post about our first event that had a typo in it. And she blew us up on the internet over it. She said, I would never come to an event with a typos.
But I remember I'd be like, thanks for pointing this out.
Yeah, thanks for pointing this out.
Like, you're welcome.
Yeah. It's unbelievable how quickly people can deflate sometimes when you actually address their concerns rather than just delete things or ignore it. So you've been very good at that because admittingly, like I believe, a shorter fuse than you do. And I am pretty laid back, but you're much better at this. So that is to your credit, I think. To be honest with you. Maybe that's what set you up to be the good cop and me to be the bad cop.
Yeah, you're the bad cop.
Every time, because a lot of the vendors and stuff, like people will talk to you, and like if we can't accommodate a particular thing, like you'll be like, oh, I don't know, you got to go talk to Marisa. And not that I'm really horrible at saying no to people, also, but I suppose you have to sometimes. So I don't know.
I have gotten better at saying no to people. When we first started this, I was pretty wishy-washy because I wanted everyone to like be
happy.
Be happy. But it turns out if you just give people actual information, that is way better than being wishy-washy.
Yeah, just give them an explanation.
Be here at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Don't show up whenever you want to. Be here at 8 o'clock.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's to the point now where we have, with all the events that we have enough vendors that we're working with that we can't, like, we have to just give like general information.
Wishy-washy.
We can't be wishy-washy at all. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm excited for the upcoming events that we just put on the calendar.
I'm excited for Starland's
I'm excited
Ballroom.
to see.
Screamer signed up for that very first one.
I know, which is awesome.
Yeah. April 22nd.
April 22nd is the first one.
Yeah.
In Starland Ballroom. I'm excited to see how this is all going to continue to evolve because our first event was only a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And look how much it's evolved, you know? I keep on saying New Jersey's ready for this, but because I think so. I think the fact that all these events can even happen and that we have good attendance and the vendors are selling out at each one of these, you know, or a good amount of the vendors are selling out at each one of these is just a testament to that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Onward and upward.
So we have like 8 minutes left.
We have 8 minutes left.
I think we should talk about Atlantic City because that's really.
Let's talk about Atlantic
City.
Go ahead.
So.
July 14th.
July 14th. But we were planning a thing in Atlantic City. It didn't work out. The Showboat Hotel called us.
Right.
And invited
they said,
us,
do it here.
Invited us to do an event in their hotel, and that's how we ended up the Showboat. And I remember when we first went, that we were in the car the next day when we heard from them.
We were.
And then
I cleared my schedule when we got in the car.
And that was like even before our second event. Really, it was like in the early. It was
very early on. It was right after
our first.
I think it was right after the Meadowlands. They had called us like maybe a month.
It was after our first one at the Hyatt when we had booked the Meadowlands, but we hadn't been there yet.
Yeah.
But I remember like coming home in the car and the space was crazy and the
space was unbelievable.
And I remember being the kind of like, we have to do this even though I don't know how.
Yeah.
Because we are never going to get an opportunity to get a space like this again.
Yeah, the space is beautiful. The opportunity was beautiful. So, you know, it was kind of funny actually. So we were just talking about how we just like jumped in the car the next day and went right down there, which we did. Mm-hmm. But before that, I hadn't been to Atlantic City since like 2008, like before the economy crashed, and you had never been there.
I've never been there. We went down to check it out.
We went down to check it out. Right, exactly. And you had asked me, you're like, so what's Atlantic City like? And like I didn't have an honest answer for you because I didn't even know what Atlantic City was going to be like. being that when I had been there, it was a much different place. But since then, we've been down to Atlantic City a whole bunch, and Atlantic City oddly reminds me of Morristown a little bit.
What?
Hang with me here.
Okay.
It oddly reminds me of Morristown. It's a very different dynamic. It's a very different city with very different issues than yes. But like Morristown is only this like little 3 square mile kind of town where everybody knows each other. There's a lot of like small
Atlantic City
business.
is like that too.
Atlantic City is very small, and everybody knows each other down there.
Yeah.
And I think some of the attitudes, of course not everybody, but some of the attitude that you and I have kind of like experienced as some of the people up in North Jersey, when they hear that we were going to Atlantic City, they're like, who wants to go to Atlantic City? Like, these are people that live down there, you know? And there's
people
nonprofits and groups that are really trying to bring back the economy there, you know? And gambling is out, you know? You can't have any more gambling licenses in the state of New Jersey.
There's actually 2 casinos opening it's right on either side of us in the Showboat.
Is it actually going to be casinos, though? See, I was under the impression that the gambling licenses were out in New Jersey.
I don't know. It's kind of... I always listen... So there's another podcast put on by the press of Atlantic City, and they talk a lot about, like, who's opening what. And it's kind of going to be interesting to see if the demand for gambling is still there.
Yeah, it's pretty... Yeah, that will be interesting.
Maybe everyone just wants to go to the Vegan Food Festival now.
Maybe we'll just turn it into the vegan city, and that'll be its new identity.
But I do think Atlantic City is pretty interesting and unique, because we've been down there a lot now, and the first time I was there, the size of the casinos to me is overwhelming,
massive,
and they're like so gigantic, like blocks and blocks long, it seems like, and then they have a little tiny house next to them.
Yeah, I know.
And then, but one time when we were there, like I walked up and down the boardwalk, but we also like one time whenever I go someplace, I like to walk around the town and see what's happening. And when I was walking around in Atlantic City, that one time they had like some sort of art event happening where like all these nonprofits were like chalking up the sidewalks. Yeah. And that was cool. And that's where really, when I stopped and told people what we were doing, they would point us to like, you got to stop by the Arts Garage, and you got to go over to Tennessee Avenue. They're redoing in that. And they're putting like a brewery, and there's a distillery over there. They're putting a new coffee shop. There's a yoga place for like charity.
Yeah.
But we also, when we were there, I just like Atlantic City because it is a pretty small town, even though they have those massive casinos. And I feel like I get the impression people go to those massive casinos and never go outside.
Right.
And so getting out into the city, when we were there last time, we got a call from the rescue mission in Atlantic City. And then we immediately ran over there because that's what we do.
I know.
And but they are doing things like Meatless Mondays.
Yeah.
And the woman in charge, whose name I'm blanking on right now, she was great.
Yeah.
She teaches their food service to people staying there, and like they have a commercial kitchen that they just had to upgrade.
Yeah.
And the work they have gardens that they're working on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like really strong community in that town, just like Morristown.
That's what I'm saying. Right, exactly.
Yeah. And it is true that we sat down with one person who was like, let me give you the layout of who's who and like how they're connected.
Everybody
and like
knows
what they did
other.
10 years ago. And I was like, that is like Morristown.
It is like Morristown, honestly.
But I think every town in New Jersey is like that, because we all have this. So in New Jersey, they have that home rule thing where every government's separate. Like, like that's why you have 1 million health departments, and like, there's no like real county-wide services.
Right. It's all like municipality based.
I don't want to say, and that's probably not true what I just said, but
it happens a lot though. No, I think you're right. Like, it happens a lot.
So I think every like Hoboken, and like Hoboken's 1 square mile. Morristown's 3 square miles.
How big is Atlantic City? It's got to be right in there.
It's tiny because you can see across.
You can see the whole town. Yeah,
from the top of one of those casinos, you can see everything you need to see.
Right. Yeah,
and you can walk it.
Yeah, you can walk it. I want to say it's definitely smaller than Morristown is, but it really does have that like community feel. Everybody seems to know each other. Like there's this like. I almost feel like a unity amongst people with some of the stuff they've been through. It's cool to see.
And it's interesting. It is kind of... they're all connected, but it's all kind of like crazy stuff, like not crazy stuff, but like we got contacted by this guy who wanted to bring like vegan wrestlers to our event, and he's like a local wrestling promoter, but he's also connected to this coffee house, and he's connected to this guy, and like I really wanted to bring the vegan wrestlers. I think that's on our to-do list.
So we should actually talk about what we do have like lined up for the event so far.
Yeah.
So one thing we should mention about like when we went to the showboat, I was wondering if it was just going to be like a shell of what it once was. I haven't been to the showboat in probably 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Who even knows, like leading up to when we first went down there. But the casino is in like pristine condition. It's beautiful. They cleared the whole casino floor. It's 100,000 square feet. It's like
but it's still kind of quirky because they still have like lights from the games like around the posts that like light up and
from
stuff.
like the slot machine stuff, so it still has that kind of feel to it. Like they didn't quite like
you're a winner.
Things like lighting up. It's cool. Like when people see it, it's really cool. And we saw the space, we were like, we have to do it here.
Yeah.
So on Friday night, right outside the showboat and right off the boardwalk, so you'll be able to see it from the boardwalk, we're going to have a huge vegan food truck festival.
I have it scheduled start at noon.
Starts at noon and it goes to 8. So and so it's $10 that gets you into pretty much like the entire weekend, meaning like the $10 it gets you into the food truck festival the day/evening before that's Friday, July 13th. And then it gets you into like the big expo show that we're doing, or essentially like the vegan food festival, the main event on Saturday that starts at 11 and it goes to like 8 or so.
Yeah.
So we're going to have over 200 vendors there. We're also having a big race on the boardwalk this on Saturday morning. It's going to be a 5K and a 10K, and we're having like a little 1 miler thing if you want to participate in that. And it's just along the boardwalk.
When we were at that first thing, I remember we were outside. I'm like, it'd be cool to do a run on here.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't let go
and
of
so
it.
we did.
So we did it.
Yeah. So registration is all open for that. And then we're also going to have some pretty big speakers there. I mean, this is like an event that...
This is our biggest...
it's pretty insane that we're doing this.
Even with the first event, like we book the speakers first. Like, who do we want to hear? Who do we think people want to hear?
Right.
And like we actually did a poll and got some ideas, and
there was a lot of thought that went into getting the speakers that we did, honestly. So our keynote speaker is the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, which we're really excited about. He has a new vegan clothing line that's out. What's the name of his clothing line?
It's 36 Chambers.
Yes, that's it. Is his vegan clothing line, and he's got he's a super. There's a few podcasts that you have talked about that you heard him on,
he's really smart.
Like I've been reading his books and everything. He's a super intelligent guy. Yeah. Like I'm gonna feel like a dumbass in front of him.
I feel like this. I don't think he's ever talked about being a vegan, except he's done some videos for is it PETA? I don't even know how to say it. So
right, I know what you're talking about. The whatever they are, I don't know how to say it either.
But people are really excited. I think this vegan clothing line is pretty cool, and that might be there. I can't say that it will be, or
we don't know for sure. But I know they were excited about getting it there.
Yeah.
So hearing him speak is going to be pretty amazing. And we also have Scott Jurek, who's going to be, or he's featured in the movie that's about to come out called The Game Changers.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be pretty
coming
huge.
out next month about a couple years ago, he ran the Appalachian Trail and was like the fastest finisher of the Appalachian Trail. And then somebody was telling me this weekend that the next year he helped his friend beat his record.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty nice.
So a huge vegan athlete that breaking records and doing freaking awesome shit.
Yeah.
And then we also have a
Brian Terry
on like a food justice panel.
So it's Brian Terry who that's his big thing, and then we have on that panel we have a woman named, I'm really bad about it turns out I don't know how to pronounce things and I don't realize until I try to do it. Lauren Ornelas. Okay. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce her name. She's from the Food Empowerment Project and was recommended to us by Andy Tabar from The Bearded Vegans, who's another podcast. And she's real excited about coming. And we also have Erica Boyd from Detroit Vegan Soul, which is the restaurant we were in. And it really, I think, putting Detroit on the map for vegan food.
Yeah.
They have 2 locations now.
Yeah.
And their food is amazing.
They're doing really great things in Detroit. Yeah, their food is phenomenal. So anyway, the Atlantic City event is... Now, and one thing to keep in mind is we started doing this only a year and a half ago. So this is like not only a big event in terms of like scale and all the moving pieces and everything that's evolved.
We
and how
also have an
insane.
after party with Honey LeBron.
Oh, that's right.
Vegan drag queen.
Right. Yeah. We were thinking
Yeah.
it's Atlantic City. We need to go all the way. Like
Yeah.
let's get as much as we can in terms of production with this event. So yeah, so I mean this is pretty big for us.
Yeah.
So,
So all those
we are
tickets
really
are event-
excited.
It's kind of the way I did tickets. Like I feel like maybe I took too much advice from people.
Yeah.
So like when you go to buy tickets to the Atlantic City event, it asks you like it's like individual or team, and I think right there people are like, I don't know what you're talking about, and they leave. So if you join a team, because there's a lot of people who come with like groups of friends or family, every 10 people who join your team will give you a free ticket. And there's like we have like 10 teams signed up already. I feel like they're all going to come with like matching t-shirts and stuff, but that I would do it differently next time. I don't know.
I still think it's pretty cool. I mean, I can understand Ming has kind of taken us through it as you're
and
talking.
then if you go to like the speaker tickets, also our separate ticket, and here's why I did that, is because our tickets for the Meadowlands were like $30 or $40,
Right.
And not everybody can afford that, or some people just want to come check out the food, and so we tried to break it down.
Right.
So that people could see RZA, they can buy a ticket to see RZA.
Right. You can actually buy a ticket to who you want to see.
And it didn't, but they kept, all the speakers are pretty great and worth more.
Right.
But like,
Oh yeah, I
it's
would
still
agree.
$10 to get into the 2 food festivals so people can experience the food.
Right. We wanted to keep like the actual, like, I guess you could say like general admission ticket for the weekend as low as we possibly could.
Yeah.
And
So
then
that's
the
why
other
it's
things,
so complicated. And then there's another site
Yeah.
for there's like run sign up for the run.
It's a little convoluted, but that's okay.
It's very complicated. I posted on the Facebook. I was like, next year I'd make it a little more minimalist. But
yeah,
that's
well,
what
you
it
know,
is right now.
we're still kind of figuring it
Yeah.
out. But when people go to the website, I think you could definitely kind of figure it out.
yeah, there also be. I think we have like Brian Terry's going to do a food demo, and that's going to be open to whoever shows up first. There's some
Right.
other food demos planned.
Yep.
Still trying to work out the bearded vegans are going to do a live podcast.
Yeah, and we're trying to get Ming to go down there. I think every time we see you, we talk about this.
Yeah, no pressure,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
We would love to be there. Thank you for the invitation.
Yay.
I think, you may just see us down there.
All right,
All right,
great,
great.
awesome.
All right.
And I want to say that about wraps up. We
think-
definitely went over
yeah.
time here. So,
Yeah. Overtime.
all right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah. I'm the good cop.
Okay, and I suppose I'll just maintain the bad cop. Maybe.
Okay.
You know what? We should just
We should get
maintain that.
t-shirts.
We should get t-shirts. But the only problem is, and I think you mentioned this before,
Yeah.
like
if I get a good cop thing, I'm gonna have to do a lot more work.
yeah, and people aren't going to approach me for
Yeah.
anything if I just
You're
kind of
gonna-
label
just gonna be
myself. They're gonna be like,
relaxing.
well, I don't want to talk to Marisa. Forget
Yeah.
it.
All right.
All right. Thanks for
Okay.
joining us.
Okay, great.